What's up, everybody? I'm here with my friend Rob. I want to make sure I say this right. Cornilles. Did I
Yeah,
say
so
it
you've
right?
never said my last name because as friends we never have to, right? It's just always been I call you Rafi and you call me Rob, and it's just that's just what it is. So yes, Cornilles is the correct pronunciation.
Cornelius, and I'm here with Rob. He's the founder and the CEO of GameFace and the author of the Sales Game Changer. And we're here to talk about fitness. We're here to talk about sports. We're here to talk about business and being able to be your best and most optimal. And Rob has a phenomenal story. I would love for you to take it away. I like the part how you mentioned grunge music. So if you want to start with grunge music, you can go right for it.
Hey, before we go there though, I mean, you and I were talking, we've been talking the last 24 hours or so
Mhm.
about your pre-launch for your book.
Yeah.
So you got to give me and anyone who's watching this, you got to give us an update. How's it going?
Gotcha. So for anybody who does not know, I have a book coming out. It's called Core Fitness, Your Best Shape, Looking and Feeling Great. You can pre-order it for 99 cents at preorder.raphaelvelasquez.com and got some great feedback. My friend, he ended up pre-ordering the book and it came up that it was number one in sports training. And then actually the project manager for the launch, she said that right now we're number one in one of the diet categories. So she said to just stay patient. There will be more number ones. It's exciting. And I was talking to Nell before. Nell's in part of our community, one of our communities, and she asked me, "Are you nervous?" I'm taking the approach that I'm focused. I'm blessed to even be able to be doing a launch, and it takes away that nervousness out of the equation where I'm at peace. I just reach out to people and have a regular conversation.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to get it. I've ordered it. Everyone who's watching this, you better have ordered it by now. It's great that you're going to be a number one best-selling author. I think by the end of today, when we're having this conversation. And then I'm sure it'll be out sometime this year. I think it's out this year, but I know we're just pre-ordering it now, getting first in line. And so I'm really excited about it. It's a great title, great look on the cover. You did a great job putting it together, Rafi. Good.
Thank you. I got the inspiration from Ray Dalio's book, Principles.
Mm.
Very simple, subtle, and just focusing on the content. With the ebook launch, I'm shooting for July 1st,
Okay.
paperback September 1st. That's the game plan. I'm looking to stick to it as best as I can and just enjoying the ride.
Well, I know you're gathering a lot of cool information right now from your clients. I know you've been talking to a lot of people, doing a lot of interviews with people in the fitness space and the business space. I just want you to know, as one who's going to be reading your book, I love that it's going to be available to me by midsummer, and so hopefully I'll have it by then. But if it's not to me by then, I'll just assume it's because you're putting more goodness in it, and good things take time. So do whatever you have to do because I'm sure it'll be awesome when it finally comes out.
I'll tell you, with being around great people, being able to interview a lot of great people and have great mentors in my life that I'm really, really grateful for. Patience is a virtue, and it's what I've learned is we all have a lot going on. So as I stay patient, I enjoy the process of writing, enjoy the process of connecting. That with patience, things come, and I definitely will make sure that comes out and it's pristine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because you'll always have more to say.
Mhm.
And as for both of us, as our careers continue to evolve, we gain more experience, more insight. Sometimes we make a course correction in the way we think on about a particular thing. But once people read your first book, they're going to just want more content from you. So anyway, I'm excited for you as your friend, as a fellow author, and you're in for a great ride. This is going to be a great year for you.
I'm excited. I'm excited to put in the work where I can and just impact.
Yeah.
And with all the work that you've done, after a certain point, it's not about the money that's being made. It's about the lives being touched. And I know with what I read about you and what you've told me about your career, after a while, when you were with the Clippers doing sales, it was more so about the benefit for season ticket holders, how they would be able to bring their clients, how they would be able to enjoy the time with their family. And family is something that I cherish, and I know that is important. So the more lives we touch, the better.
Yeah, and you said something a moment ago, and then I'll get to this Clippers story, which is I'm not stalling. I
We're
just think
following.
this is your day, and I just want to make sure that we celebrate it. But
Thank you.
you know, um, anyone who thinks that people like you and I get rich off writing a book has obviously never written a book.
Ever.
No, yeah, we don't do it for the money. We do it because frankly, obviously if we have something worthwhile to say, we want people to be able to hear and learn from that and gain from that. But selfishly, we get so much in return from people we don't know who are reading our books, and they communicate with us what they're learning, what they're, how it's improving their lives, making them more successful. In your case, making them happier and healthier, and fitter so that they can do other things that are just as important to them in their life. That's really the benefit of authorship. Shoot, Amazon keeps most of it anyway, don't they? So
Bezos is doing well. He's been eating fine throughout this pandemic.
that's right. Well, I tell you, you asked about my beginnings. So I run a company called Game Face, as you know, and we've been in business for about 25 and a half years. I started in the sports industry about 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago now. And I didn't know that I could work in sports. Unlike you, Raph, I don't have a physique that someone would say, "Oh man, you ought to be a starting linebacker," right? So I didn't have that advantage, and so it was never really a career pursuit for me. But in my mid 20s or so, I got an opportunity to join with the LA Clippers basketball team, working in their sales department. And at the time, I thought, well, this isn't going to last very long because the Clippers stink. This is back in the early 90s. They don't stink so much anymore, but they certainly were the laughing stock of the NBA back then. And
Words.
and I thought, it would be kind of a fun little diversion, maybe a path to something else. And sure enough, when I started, not only did the team stink, but I did too as a salesperson. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no training, had no background in it. And so I was about ready to quit after just, I think, about 3 months into it. I was about ready to just toss it aside. But then something happened in the course of my work with them that just, it was just a career mind blow because I realized, and it actually happened on one particular evening at a game, and I talk about this in the book, actually right in the introduction of the Sales Game Changer. But I realized that people in those days going to that particular team, they weren't attending the games to watch a win because that's crazy, right? In
It
those
wasn't
days. No,
happening.
not going to happen. Right. You're more likely to look like you after a workout than to watch a Clippers win. That's how low the chances were. But what happened was I realized that the people that were coming were not coming, as I say, to watch a victory, but they were coming to achieve, as I like to call it, a result from being there that night. And not just that night, but by being there that night with their significant other or with their kids or grandkids or their colleagues from the office or a recruit that they're trying to bring into their organization or their group of volunteers if they're a nonprofit organization or a customer who they're trying to get more business with or retain so that they don't go to their competitor. Everyone goes to a game with different parties and different purposes. And some might say, well, I just go for a fun experience. And I would argue, no, that's not all. What if the team stinks? What if they get blown out that night? That wasn't fun. And so you would never go back again if that was your purpose. But you go instead because you're trying to enjoy quality time with your friends and family. You're trying to build memories. You're trying to improve relationships. You're trying to build relationships, or in some cases, repair them. Or you're trying to win a new client or retain a client, as I said, or you're trying to promote your cause if you're there as a big group for the local YMCA. everyone goes to sporting events and other entertainment venues for a particular reason. And when I finally realized that, it occurred to me, then why am I on the phones every day? Or why am I going into people's offices around Los Angeles trying to convince them that they ought to come to our games to become a fan? That's crazy. There are only a few people who really want to be a fan of a lousy sports team.
They're like, wait, don't they suck? And then that's it.
Exactly. Right. Then the conversation's over. And people are going to go back to their fandom of the LA Lakers, who were winning championships back in those days. So when I came to that realization, I concluded I've got to stop selling the product because the product stinks or the product is unpredictable. I have no control over the product night in and night out. What I do have control over as a salesperson is the results one can get from using my product. And that's what I began to focus on. And that then became the introduction I would make to sales calls. And that would, and then blossom into a conversation because I'm not focusing on my product, which most people couldn't stand and had no interest in. I'm focusing on the results my prospect is interested in, regardless of the Clippers' existence. And then once we both agree that those results are important to them, once we've identified what they are, then that's my opportunity to say, you know what, my product, my team, my venue, my games, we could actually be a driver to get you those important results for your family, for your business, for your colleagues, for your customers and clients. And now that leads to a really productive sales call, which eventually led to a lot of presentations, a lot of sales. And I started, modesty aside, I started setting sales records, not only for the Clippers, but within that whole league, the NBA. And it eventually led to a business.
That's badass. And there's one thing that once you understood, all right, let me flip it from what I'm trying to sell to how this can benefit the person that I'm talking to, show them how much I care about. Hey, I don't want to sell you tickets so you can watch them play. I want to sell you tickets so that your organization can get some exposure. You can go take out your clients and come watch this game. Now they're like, oh, okay, this person actually, cares about what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to grow.
That's right. And not to diss all salespeople, but most salespeople don't begin their outreach that way. Most of us in sales are trained on our product or our service. We become an expert in it, which is obviously necessary. But because we become an expert in it so quickly, and hopefully we're kind of excited about it, we can't help ourselves. We just want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. That's the opposite of what the prospect is looking for. If people were really interested in LA Clipper tickets back in 1991 when I started, you know what they would have done? They would have been calling us.
You would have just been by the phone, like, hello?
That's right. I can assure you the phone wasn't ringing. It took weeks before I actually discovered that my phone had a ringer.
That's hilarious.
So in fact, let me turn it to you, Raph, and your business. So you're a personal coach, a fitness coach, right? And you work in nutrition as well. So you have a product that, a service, let's call it that the results of it are super cool. They're life-changing. But if you're going to call me, and now I'm acting as your sales coach, so forgive me here.
Hey,
but if you're calling me and you're saying, hey, Rob, I want to talk to you about a great 5:30 a.m. workout. I'd like to start with you every day starting next Monday. I'm going,
you hate the mornings.
That's right. Mornings. See, mornings, 5:30, 30-minute workout, blah, blah, blah. You know what all of that is to me? It's objectionable. It's like, dude, you're talking about stuff that, first of all, I'm not thinking about. I wasn't sitting around my office or my home today thinking, gee, I hope some personal trainer is going to call me up and talk to me about a 5:30 a.m. workout.
That's a blast.
That's what I'm looking for. So what am I going to do? I'm going to naturally reject you because you're talking about something that I don't think I need. I don't want. It's not attractive to me. It's unappealing. Instead, tell me, Raph, what are 3 results that I will get if I actually work with you? If I hire you to be my personal coach, what are 3 results I can expect?
So 3 results that you would expect: you'll start to feel better, you'll start to look better, and be able to do things around the house that makes it easier for you to go through your activities of daily living. And as well as that is, you'll start to have more confidence within your work. You know, I'll tell you one great thing that I've seen from one of my clients that works in corporate. I want to say about a month ago, he was getting ready to, leave his position where he was at, and he was at the same time working to figure out where he was going. This happened in 2 weeks. The man has set up every single step to make sure that right when he said, I am going to be leaving, he knew who to talk to, he knew who to call, he knew how to make sure that he did things properly for legal, properly for his ethics and values, and how he believed in his people, how he trust, how he put faith in people that he used to work with, and then transition to go to his next spot. That takes a certain type of character, and that also takes a person who is very diligent with their time. And he definitely made sure to say we usually worked out around 8 o'clock, sometimes 2 p.m., that he would work out to give himself that time, because after that, working corporate, working in sales, your time is focused on talking to people, reaching out. So he made sure that he gave himself that window to be able to work hard, remove himself from his work so that he can have some peace of mind to then go back and be great again. So that's a story I like to tell. And he did really well with his bonuses.
So you not only have lots of those stories through your book, you're going to get a lot more because people are going to contact you. Are going to say, hey, man, I'm reading your content. It's changing my life. And so if I'm you, if I was your sales coach, for real, and I was saying, hey, we want to sell not more books, we want to sell more personal training, right? That's your goal. So I would say, let's look at the results that your work with people will produce for them. And then let's lead off with that, whether in our marketing materials, our sales calls, and so forth. So for example, in my business, I'm a sales coach and I'm a sales trainer, a speaker, a keynoter. And so I'm standing in front of people all the time. Now, granted, over the last year, it's been a little harder to do that. More of it's virtual, but nevertheless, I'm on, right? I'm on stage all the time. And so I've got to be on. I've got to feel good, look good. So if you were calling me, a compelling opening line, one that would not lead to a rejection, but would lead to intrigue on my part, is if you said something like, hey, Rob, I know the nature of your business requires you to always be on in front of your clientele, whether it's one individual or an audience of 5,000. What I want to chat with you about is how I can assist you in making you look as good as possible, having as much energy as necessary so that people are always compelled with your message and want to hear more of it.
Now your ears are open.
Yeah, exactly. If you say that to me, I'm not gonna say, overrated, not important, irrelevant. I'm not gonna say any of that. I'm gonna say, what are you talking about exactly? What are you proposing? And that, what am I doing? I'm asking you to sell me, which frankly, very few prospects do. Very few prospects actually invite the salesperson to continue. And that is exactly what you can do if you begin all of your calls, all of your outreach, even your LinkedIn messaging, your emails, begin with a result you can bring rather than how you bring it. The how, there's plenty of time to talk about that. We'll get to that later in the conversation or in our email exchanges or what have you. But I want to talk about what I'm going to bring you at the outset, because that's going to hook you. You talk to me about the results I'm looking for, or at least you have a good hunch of what I'm looking for. And now you've got a sales dialogue.
And I tell you, in the book that I'm working on, that I'm finishing up, I talk about that, and I have a training philosophy with 4 parts: metamorphosis, which is somebody's transformation; the mindset that someone needs to be successful; movement; and meals. And you need to figure out the vision of what you want before you can start walking towards it. it's huge. You know, if I like you're doing a great job. So everybody watching this, please, I hope you're taking notes. Rewind what Rob just said because that will be huge for you in sales, in life, in general. Just write that down, take those notes. So with that transformation, now an individual can wrap their head around how do I want to show up when I'm at home? How do I want to show up when I'm at work? What is it that I need? What do I need? How should I be feeling? This allows a person to now stick to their fitness goals for a long period of time. And, you know, the consistency is what I can imagine you as a sales trainer, a keynote speaker, you see sometimes with these attendees, as well as I do with some clients, that it's the consistency that's hard. When you give into small bite-sized chunks, now people can really execute and see success and have that snowball effect, continue to move them forward.
That's really interesting you bring that up because I was going to ask you a question about that because um, both of us as coaches, whether it's with personal or with a group of individuals, you know, I'm always trying to encourage my clients to be consistent. In fact, one of the things that I have always said within my company and within my clientele is um, do the right things long enough, consistently, and then success will follow. You got to do the right things. You got to do them long enough. You can't just do them for a couple of days and expect results. I can't go to the gym for a couple of days and expect to look like you, right? And you got to do it consistently, and then you'll be successful. So I was going to ask you regarding your clientele, do you think that getting people to do the right things or to do them long enough or to do them consistently, which of those three is more difficult for you, or are they all kind of the same?
They're all intertwined because it really depends on where the person's headspace and how bought in they are to what it's if they truly want something or they're saying they want to have something. You know, I want this means that I will go after it. I want to have this means that you're thinking about having it. And I think it's more so the association with words, the how powerful words are when we use them and how direct and concise we need to be with what we're saying and then do that thing. It's never easy, just like everything else in this world. It's more so about what you're saying, where you need patience to be able to do the right thing. You need to be just have humility and just be okay with messing up at times. I can imagine when you throughout your career, and I know with mine, I've made many mistakes. I just brush the dirt off. I get up and I, you know, continue to get better. I look at what I've done before and see, okay, how can I improve? And luckily, as a kid, I did karate, so I have a mindset of learning and just being a student. So no matter what I'm doing or where I'm at, I just think about how to get better. I'm patient with it because even when I used to do karate, it takes time. I stopped at brown with black belt just because I moved from New York to New Jersey. That took about 5, 6, 7 years. So getting good at the basics, figuring out how to make sure that you're enjoying that process and helping for us as coaches, the individual, our client, our friend, see success in small ways is huge. So I wanted to say it depends because let's say I'm working at a big gym and my client we're about to try something new. And I can pick up on my client and I can see their eyes, I can see their posture. They're not feeling confident. All right, let's do something. Let's go into a room. Nobody's around us.
Yeah.
Try it now. And it's about figuring out which variables to remove, what to keep to see success.
That's so important. You know, you remind me of a phrase that we've heard in sports a lot. I use it in my business. I use it with my clientele. I know it applies to yours, which is it's a game of inches,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, it could be inches around your waist, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it's just the little things that make such a huge difference. I mean, in sports, an inch can make the difference between making the game-winning shot and not, or an inch could be the difference between the touchdown or no, out of bounds when you caught the ball. You know, it really is a game of inches. And I say the same thing about sales. You know, you talked about words, Raph. It's like if you say the wrong word unintentionally, but if you say the wrong word, it can really put off a prospect in the first 15 seconds or the first 5 seconds. I'll give you an example. Um, one of the things I try to encourage my clients never to do when they're calling someone that they've never spoken to before. I simply say, I wouldn't say this. Hey, Ralph, hey, it's Rob Cornilles. How are you today?
Like, who is it?
Exactly. As soon as I say, how are you today? And you've never heard of my name before, or you've never heard of my company name before, what do you know instantly about me?
You're trying to sell me.
Exactly. I'm a salesman or a bill collector, right? Or someone else. Exactly. Hang up the phone. So it's a small thing. We don't really think about it. We think we're being friendly and jovial and courteous, but actually it's a real turnoff to 90% of the population. When you ask a stranger how they're doing today, they just get suspicious. So I say, don't say that anymore. You can say it to them once you have a relationship, on the second or 19th call, but don't say it on the first call. Instead, why not something like this? Hey, Raph, it's Rob Cornilles with ABC Company or with Game Face. I hope you're having a great afternoon. The reason I'm calling, and say I just keep going. So it shows the courtesy, the politeness, that we all want to exhibit, but it doesn't sound so stereotypical and it doesn't give you a chance to hang up on me. So it's a game of inches. And I could take you through the whole sales process and talk about that. But in your work, I mean, oh my gosh, if I'm trying to do some oblique exercise and I'm doing it wrong, just by an inch, it's not going to have the desired outcome or the desired result, is it? So you probably are really looking at that when you're working with your clients.
For sure. For me, it's about form. It's not about speed. I think in my industry, when you look at just the marketing, it's a lot about moving fast. And America in of itself, it's a very fast food type of mentality, but we need it now, we need it fast. We got iPhones coming out every year. The only difference is another lens, but the phone's the same. And I like to slow it down to say, all right, let's focus on the form. Let's focus on making sure that you're doing it right. You're feeling well. You're feeling the exercise where you should. And from there, I like to mention the scientific method. Everything that we do in life is about us trying something out, seeing if we get the result that we wanted, and we look at it, we see feedback. If it works, good, we keep it going. If not, we go back to the drawing board, we try something else out, and then we do it again. So, as you're saying, and me doing a side crunch, me being in the wrong position can either I can possibly get hurt.
Yeah.
I can bother another joint or another muscle and just inflame it in a way that it's not going to benefit me in the long run. And if I were to do something wrong over time, I may feel fine. But let's say I go to bend over and pick up a small cup and I may feel a pull. That's from repetitive motions being done improperly.
Wow. And so that's why, watching it on YouTube, a workout on YouTube, which a lot of us do or have done, that's probably a good start. But the advantage of having a personal coach, the advantage of having Raf actually working with me is that you can see those little things, those little tweaks that I need to make in my approach or my form that's going to give me a much better result and without as much pain and without as much injury, downtime, which defeats the whole purpose.
100%. You never want to, go up the hill, roll back down, and have to start again. That could be defeating for some people. And what I like to tell people that I work with, this is what clients tell me, is that I help them feel comfortable to be able to be themselves, to be able to make a mistake, because I'm just there to hear, to watch, and then get feedback and insight as I can, and just be there as a coach. I'm not there just drilling or being a army instructor. It's more so, hey, so this is the game plan. We're doing the core workout. We're doing our core circuit. This is the first exercise. They perform the exercise and then I give my feedback. And then it's a nice mentor-mentee type of exchange where sometimes I'm even the mentee if there's something that my client may be really good at and wants to help me in life. It's something that I value in my relationships.
Can I ask you a question about that? Because one of the things that I teach, and I write about this a lot in the book, is that salespeople have to first, before we introduce techniques or methodology, before we define your approach, salespeople have got to be principled. Okay. So there's got to be certain principles that you really hold on tight to. Why principles? Because principles are things that don't really change. They don't change season to season and economy to economy and state by state. Principles are universal truths. So I teach a lot of principles, and then I introduce the approach that complements those principles. So I got to ask you, in your situation, um, because salespeople, I help them develop their voice and get the most out of their own voice as a salesperson. Some people just want to start all over. Some people just need tweaking, right? I just need a few turns of the knob to adjust my approach, but I still want to be true to who I am. In your world, when you're working with an athlete, and as Nike says, we're all athletes.
Yeah.
So when you're working with an athlete, do you teach them certain principles of fitness and of form and of diet? And then do you adjust it slightly for their personality, for their receptiveness, for their weight, their height, their body shape, and all those kinds of things? Or do you have a pretty regimented routine like, dude, you got to do it exactly like I'm telling you? How does it work if I was to work with you?
For sure. So it's definitely something that is based on the person, the individual, the sport that they do, or the work that they do for their career. Everybody will have. So let's say we have we have an executive and a hockey player. You may see some similarities. A hockey player is going to have very tight hips from being in that athletic position all day. So as a business executive for sitting down, but I will still train them differently because of the fact that a hockey player is going to be working on more rotation as opposed to an executive who is set down, set stagnant. I'm going to be looking to open both people up. And then from there, a hockey player is going to need more strength in the beginning. An executive, I'll work on their foundation first with their training. So within the methodologies, most of the workouts are set up where there's a warm up, there's a core circuit, a power circuit, main circuit, and then we come back down and we recover. So the way I like to look at it, everything for me is like a bell-shaped curve where you start slow, you ramp up, you're at the top of the exercise, the top of the workout, and then you come back down because I don't want to leave you amped up and ready to go. But meanwhile, you have to go feed your family. They're going to be like, what is going on? It just doesn't make sense. Or it's now nighttime and you need to go to sleep, but you're ready to go, So I do think that with my training, I really love to make sure that I am making the individual better for how a human being should move, which is the most important. So that's functionality, and then their imposed demands throughout their day. So may that imposed demand be, getting ready for a bunch of calls. I want to make sure the person's upper back is feeling great. They have good posture. Their core is tight and strong. Or if somebody is an athlete and they're within their in-training season, that's a completely different training than off season. So it's more so on this meeting people where they are in life, where their body is, and then taking it from there.
Wow. It's an art and it's a science. Sounds like
exactly. I know I said a lot that I love the art. I love making it into art because it's more enjoyable for the individual. They come to feel better. They leave feeling happier. They leave ready to continue on with their day in good spirits. It's something that I like to pass down.
Yeah. Well, I think we're very much the same because, like I say, I teach principles and practices, and you're doing the same thing, right? There's certain principles of fitness, of getting into shape, of becoming getting the body type that you want, and then there's practices to get you there. So yeah, it's really interesting talking with you, Raph, because it's it'd be great if someone was, for example, in sales and they've been spending too much time in front of Zoom over the last 12 months and they're starting to get a little plumpy, right? And so I can help them refresh perhaps their approach so that they become the salesperson people love, which is the subtitle to my book, The Sales Game Changer: How to Become the Salesperson People Love. And at the same time, you could be working with them to make sure that they have the energy, they have the attention span, they have the concentration that's necessary to become even more effective in their work. So, man, people ought to just hire both of us, don't you think? Let's just get it done.
Game face, game body.
Yeah, there you go.
We're on to something here.
We'll come as a package deal, dude.
I love it. I would love to do a 1-2 haymaker. It sounds great to me, man, because like you said, you're helping tweak their not even you're making their personality come out and be exude. And now if they're feeling great, they have the energy, they're a walking poster board for, they're just a walking poster board for what it is to be a great sales game changer and have a great body and just live a wholesome life.
Yeah, that's true. Because one of the things that I like to really stress is, hey, don't buy my book. Don't hire our company if you're just looking to make more money. Because there's a lot of people who can teach you how to make more money, but you're not going to feel good about yourself in the process. We teach people how to become the salesperson people love to do business with. And then you teach people how to become the person that they love to be, right? Their best self, psychologically, physically, emotionally. It's cool. It's really cool.
And that's the whole first part of my book. I focus on what it is to have full wellness, intellectual wellness, social, environmental, physical, and there's several more. I think I said social already, and that allows you to live a full life. You know, we try to sometimes just do so much in one aspect that we start to either, well, let's say I'm focusing on my business, but now my relationship with my girlfriend, my relationship with my parents, it starts to go to the wayside. Is that really a good life internally? Am I really happy? You know, we may be blocking it off, we may be seeing red flags everywhere, but we're not tending to it. So I think the more we nurture these seeds, we get to say, all right, you know, I'm doing great in business, I'm doing great in my relationships, and ultimately I'm impacting lives. From there, that's all I need. Like you said, I've met people, I've had a very interesting journey where I used to work valet and I would meet a lot of people, people with money, people that were nice with money, people that were, you know, not the nicest with money. And you tend to go back and see how it's about principles. I connected with people from different walks of life based off our principles about our values, our lives, what we find important in life, and that's something that you can't beat. It allows you to just be within an environment that's great to grow in.
Uh, you're a great guy to hang out with, Raph. And if each of your workouts are this fulfilling, man, people got to hire you fast, especially before you become a best-selling author. Because I'm not predicting anything, but Raph, you ought to jack up your rates now because you're going to be a best-selling author.
The VIP package is definitely going to have to go up. So what I'm doing with the book, I'm really blessed to do this, and Trevor gave me the idea. I have a fitness app where people can follow programs, do exercises, and I'm opening up Monday, March 22nd, which is this upcoming Monday, a virtual Zoom workout 3 times a week, and the first 12 sessions are free. So, you know, when they order the book from preorder.raphaelvelazquez.com, you'll get a bonus. The bonus actually includes 3 videos of my training philosophy, so they can get a little bit of a snippet of what's in the book. And then on top of that, you'll get an email about an offer of joining me for 12 sessions. You get to see what it is like working out with me. And I'll be doing the workouts with people. I'll be making sure that all you really need is a yoga mat. But if you have weights, you have bands, I'll give you your progressions, your variations. I feel like I'm in a really good space mentally to be just doing stewardship and being of service. So this is what life is about, and it's exciting.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, like I said, can't wait to learn more from you, and in time get that book, read that, share that with other people, and and remind me again, and everyone who's listening, if they, where do they go to get your book right now?
Yes, so you can go to preorder.raphaelvelazquez.com to spell that out. RAPHAEL, V as in Victor, ELAZQUEZ. It's a long one. I apologize. Couldn't find the short URLs, but that's it. And Rob, so same thing with you. I know you have a lot going on. How can people stay in contact with you, learn more about what you're doing, even get the book?
Well, thanks, Raph. It's they can get a copy of my book. It's an international bestseller now, and it's available at thesalesgamechangerbook.com. So that's also long. Thesalesgamechangerbook.com. We've got some really cool features when you get the book. You'll also get some video content at the end of each chapter of the book. So we have a chance to interact that way. And I'm also introducing a masterclass very soon where kind of like you're doing your Zoom sessions. People will be able to do the same with me. We've got a lot of additional video content for our masterclass members, and then one-on-one coaching, group coaching. So if people are having, struggles with how to get started in sales, or they've been in sales, but they got some, some troubling clients or prospects that they're trying to, they're scratching their head. How do we close this deal? How do we get them back? How do we sell more of our services to them? That's the kind of stuff that we cover in the masterclass.
I tell you, for everybody watching this, Rob has worked with any service, everybody that has a job or profession. You have plumbers, you have sales executives, you have the whole nine. He really thinks about how to help a salesman or anybody that needs to sell their service, their product, and how to do it in a way that it's going to benefit the end user. So he's a great resource and a great friend.
Thanks, Raph. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. So I'm going to keep an eye on your book sales and keep it going, man. Keep doing great things.
Likewise, Rob. Thank you for this. This was amazing, and we'll stay in touch, man.
All right. Awesome. Take care.